The journey back to Radiant after quitting for a year has been some of the most painful Valorant I've ever played. This week, I wasn't comfortable with my mechanics, and that combined with the low quality games at the end of the act, I only won 3 games this week. Despite all that, we still ended up playing a tournament at the end of the week and played pretty good. More on that later. So if you guys didn't watch my last video, I wanted to quickly summarize what this series will actually be. So the name of the series, or the premise of the series, is Retired to Radiant. Almost exactly a year ago, on August 23rd of last year, I hit my 900 RR peak, so that was like my highest RR peak ever. And then after that, I kind of played a little bit more to learn a new role on Controller to Radiant. I wasn't really sure how to play the game or progress with the game because I didn't really have any goals because I quit trying to go pro. So after completing Controller to Radiant and already having hit my previous peak before, I kind of slowly stopped playing the game. And then January of this year, I quit streaming completely and I haven't really played much Valorant since then. So this series is going to be documenting my journey on getting back to Radiant and potentially a little bit more. The actual routine that I'm going to follow is I'm going to be streaming for 4 hours, Monday through Friday. And I'm going to be starting the streams with warm-up. For the warm-up, I'm going to be doing the ramp routine by Minigod. And then after the routine, I'm going to be doing a few death matches and then queuing straight into ranked. As for a ranked game count, I'm shooting for 3 to 5 games, but probably it's going to be closer to 3. And any type of VOD review or reflection I'm going to be doing afterwards. To keep this organized, I'm going to have these notes in a Google Doc, and I'll also put the link in the description if you guys want to follow along there. As we loaded into the first game, we got Abyss, and I was just like, man, I don't want to play this map. I don't even really know how to play this map. So I decided to fill because, again, my goal is just to get the mechanics back, but I don't want to be holding my team down too much. Unfortunately, on defense, I was having a really hard time holding down the B site. And as a result, I was having a really slow half, and I wasn't really hitting shots. We ended up losing that game, but I brought it back slightly in the second half, and we lost 11-13. Then the next game comes, and we're playing Ascent. Don't really like this map either. I decided to fill Cypher again this game because I wasn't feeling too confident. And the setups are kind of mediocre and the sight holds didn't feel too great here. But the aim was feeling a little bit better and we lost this game 13-15. Oh yeah, and did I mention that the Reyna on this team was the same Reyna on the last game that was no calming? So far we're starting the week with 2 games back to back with the Reyna no calming. Pretty great. Thankfully the next game we get Ascent and I'm playing Omen this time, which I actually feel pretty comfortable on. Back when I was playing Controller to Radiant, Ascent was probably one of my favorite maps just because I kind of knew what I was doing. We ended up winning this one. Their Phoenix was kind of throwing. He didn't remake round 2. And I even pulled off an ace in this game. After that ace, I was getting some confidence back. I definitely felt like I was doing a little bit better, even though I did have a hard whiff on Cat. I whiffed so hard, and some of my teammates started to whiff later in the rounds, and we basically just said that this guy had anti-aim, and we just brushed it off. But that was a much needed win. We won 13-7, is getting some confidence back. And that's when I decided to lock in Raze for the next map going into Lotus. And we started off pretty strong on attack and ended up only trolling a few rounds. I think we probably could have ended 8-4 or 9-3, but attack half was going pretty well. Where we really struggled on this game was defense. I wasn't contesting A enough, like we kind of needed to hold either Rubble or the A site if they were coming A. And I tried to do a little bit of both and both didn't really work out and we just ended up losing this game. So I put on my notes that I needed to hold down Rubble or fight A main better the next time I played Lotus. Which takes me to day 2. Again, just make sure I was doing my warm-up, ramp warm-up, you know, doing my thing, getting into it. I reviewed my notes for the previous day and I was like, okay, gotta make sure I'm doing those better site holds. And boom, we pop Raze Lotus. I'm like, okay, I'm a fight A. I'm gonna do a little bit better here. It's gonna be great. We led into the game. I tried contesting A little bit more. Didn't really work too good. The util dump was just like whatever. And then we end up losing the game and our Gecko went 2-17 and he was just no calming. So I was just like, well, let's just chalk that up to a bad one. After that game, I finally got my placements done and I placed in Ascendant 1. For those of you who don't know, Ascendant 1 is the highest rank you can place after an episode reset. So even though I might be getting Immortal 3/Radiant lobbies, I can only place Ascendant 1. Then I'm gonna be honest, the rest of the games that day were kind of a blur. I just remember that sight holds were really difficult. I filled a little bit more here, just playing the Cypher and the Omen again. And I couldn't hold down sights, my teammates couldn't hold down sights, and I ended the day 0-4. So this is day 3 of me being back on Friday. I was like, you know what? I'm not actually doing that bad. I just gotta kind of figure it out and, you know, pick up the ball for today. But actually, one of my old teammates hit me up the night before asking if I wanted to play in a tournament. I was just like, I don't really know if I want to come back to the tournament because obviously I was going back to rank to hit Radiant. And you know, in the YouTube comments, you guys were asking me, oh, are you gonna try to go back and go pro? Are you gonna try competing? Like those type of things. I was definitely on the fence. I definitely have some, you know, mixed feelings about it because I don't really want to put too much pressure on myself. I just said, you know what, let's just plug it out. We'll have fun. And I ended up saying yes. And he told me that I was going to be playing Flash Initiator. So I was like, okay, Gecko, Breach, I can figure that out. Going into the ranked games, I was just going to pick Flash Initiator. And then boom, first game we get Lotus. So far we're 0-2 on this map, so I knew that I had to contest A little bit better this game if we wanted to win. And lo and behold, me being an initiator, I could coordinate with my teammates and then use my util for the A fight, and we actually were able to kind of win the A fight more oftentimes than not. Thankfully, I had some really good duelists as well, so I pretty much just spent the entire game just throwing util and just vibing out. We ended up winning this one 13-8, and I really only got 13 kills, so kind of just cruising. Game right after, I got Icebox. I was like, all right, this is pretty cool. I'll play Gecko again. I just get absolutely carried by Daznirth and Cavern. And we were playing against Hiko here, and I was just like, all right, I'm just doing my job, planting the spike, and just cruising. So far, this has been a pretty stark difference between the games at the start of the week, so I was just like, I'll take it. And then after winning 2 back-to-back games, Riot decided that I was ready to hop into a full Radiant lobby. When I say full Radiant lobby, I mean every single player in the game was Radiant except me. And then we load into Abyss, and I picked Gecko again, and then Cavern proceeds to drop 30 on our heads. Wardell did his best to kind of fight back. He dropped 26. We ended up pulling up a little bit back towards 10-13. But I kid you guys not, I was just getting shit on. Like I would go look left, die, look right, die. I try to play A-site on defense, break some util, throw my util, they would run out, then I would die. I was just like, I was outclassed, I'm gonna be honest. And that pretty much concludes my ranked games of the week. So a quick recap on the games. I won 3 and lost 8 for a total of 11 games. Tournament started at 6 p.m. Keep that in mind, 6 p.m. This was day 1, which was groups. All you had to do was win 2 BO3s to make it to day 2. So going into the first BO3, honestly, I was a little bit nervous. We ended up picking Pearl because they just, that map is coming back and we all wanted to play something new. I could definitely feel my aim being super shaky. I was kind of just spraying everyone. And to make matters worse, we were struggling on attack. Like we were down 1-5 in the first half. And then I was like, guys, we just have to go B. They're just stacking mid. And I just told my team, let's just go B. Let's just go B. Pearl is B. Wait, listen, can we try B? I'm pretty sure this shit is weak.
I'm down.
He's not even hopping.
Yeah, let's do it.
And after that, we went B a few times successfully, and we started to bring back the half, and we ended down 5-7. After getting some momentum and switching over to defense, we basically just straight up aggroed mid and just 4-fought mid. We won that round and carried that momentum for the rest of the game and just ended up winning. And then on Haven, this was pretty much a pub stomp. We just won 11-1 on attack and just ran it down. That series was pretty straightforward. We won 2-0. Going into the second BO3, we were playing against some better opponents now, some Radiants. They ended up pulling out the Fnatic Haven comp, which made us a little bit worried. But we had a competitive 6-6 defense half, and I think I played decently well. Had some pretty nice rounds with the Sheriff where we won round 2, and then we won an eco round where I was Heaven and I stunned and killed 2. But when we switched over to attack, we were just getting obliterated. They pretty much just fought us the entire game. They just ISO vulnerable, they lobby and all this stuff, and we just kind of died. That was my first time playing against Yoru ISO on that map, and it definitely showed. We ended up losing that game 13-8, and I went +1 in kills, so I had 17 kills and 16 deaths. After losing map 1, we had to really dial in for this next map, which was Bind. Now, personally, I'm not a huge fan of Bind recently, but we started defense, and we decided to pick a really heavy defense comp. We played a double controller and a Cypher. That gave us a pretty strong lead on defense, giving us 8-4 lead. The initial game plan that I had going into defense was just walling B and then giving my A orb on default to help deny plant. Eventually, I switched my setup over to have a full B setup, and either Sova or Cypher was playing with me, and we were playing a 2B setup. And that worked out pretty well. Now, attack started off pretty well. We won pistol round, but then we lost the bonus, and we were just getting stomped. As they were coming back, I realized whatever we were doing wasn't working. I made the call to contact B because I noticed we were using a lot of util to telegraph where we were going, and we were just getting stalled out.
About to have 3 good ults here.
Listen, this game is free. Just pair contact everything. Like, we can 3-2 contact something and we'll win. It doesn't matter. Just don't even use util, I promise. They don't have all. We didn't have double initiator or double duelist to kind of brute force sight hits. I was just like, you know what? Let's just not use any util at all. It's not like they're opping. So we just contacted B and we won a few rounds. And thankfully, we were able to squeeze out a win in OT, 15-13. Then that takes us to map 3, Ascent. We haven't played Ascent yet, but I knew we were going to start defense, so I tried to convince the team to play double Sentinel.
Cypher, I guess.
Are we defense or attack?
Defense.
Then I think I would say Deadlock Cypher. But I don't know. I don't want to be the guy that's like...
It's up to you guys. I don't care. I'm not playing either of them motherfuckers.
We are starting defense, so that's kind of like...
I think we
do want to.
I think we do it.
Alright, but...
Similar to what we did on Bind, I wanted to play a heavy defense-sided comp just so we can get a lead. A popular comp that we've been seeing recently in the meta is Deadlock plus Cypher on Ascent. So I ended up trying it out. I was playing Cypher. And unfortunately, it wasn't really going that well on defense. We kind of figured out how to play the comp a little bit too late, I think, and we only ended up getting 4 rounds on defense. So at this point, it was going to be pretty tough. We flipped over to attack and we didn't really know what we were doing. It only got 2 rounds and ended up losing 13-6. Now remember when I said this tournament started at 6 p.m? After Ascent, this was our 5th map, so it was getting really late. And unfortunately, because we didn't win the second BO3, this means we had to play another BO3 and it was already super late. I was like super tired at this point and I was kind of just going through the motions. But we tried to pull it together to win this last BO3 and see if we can make it into day 2. So for this next BO3, we were starting on Haven Attack. And as you guys know, our Haven's actually pretty good as long as we're not playing against the Yoru ISO. They did end up picking up Yoru, but they were playing Deadlock instead of the ISO. And unfortunately for them, I don't think they really knew what the Deadlock was supposed to be doing, kind of just like us on Ascent. And we ended up leading 9-3 on attack. Switching over to defense, we kind of threw a little bit, but we still ended up closing out the map 13-9 and moving on to the second map, Ascent. Now you know how Ascent went last BO3, so this Ascent we were making sure we would play standard comp and I was moving from Cypher to KO. Now, I mean, this didn't really do any better, to be honest. I was kind of just running around doing whatever. On defense, I was playing heavy towards A, and on attack, we were trying to take A main control or just work the map, and we got a little bit of success, but not as much as we should have. In other words, we were pretty much just lost on Ascent, and we just ended up losing this one as well. In hindsight, I think we probably should have tried the permaban Ascent. I think we might have been able to win some of these BO3s if we did. We were moving on to Split for the last map. Now Split was pretty good. We started off strong. We were starting defense again. And just like Bind, we were trying to play a double smokes plus sentinel comp. We had a ton of stopping power and smokes, and we ended up actually just winning 7 rounds. We should have won a little bit more in my opinion. But the problem is when we switched over to attack, again, we only got 2 rounds. I don't know what the solution was, but I tried to lurk up A, we tried to work mid, like nothing was really working and we couldn't even get onto sites. Also at this point, I was pretty tired, the rest of my team was tired, and some of us were getting tilted, so it was pretty much, I don't think we were mentally in it for the second half. So unfortunately, we did end up losing this BO3 as well, which means we were out of the tournament. Now, even though we lost the tournament, I had a ton of fun, and if I'm looking at my stats, I actually played better than I thought I would, considering it's only been 3 days since I've been back. That on top of we were playing against some Radiants and some collegiate and kind of like tier 3 players, I think we did pretty good. In the first series, based on rating, I was actually the best player on my team, and I also went plus 12 on the KD. For the second series, I only went -5, which, you know, isn't perfect, isn't great, but I'm pretty surprised I only went -5. And then for the last series, I went an even 0, so same kills, same deaths. Reflecting on the week as a whole, including the ranked games and the tournaments, I'm actually pretty happy with how it went. I think mechanically I'm kind of de-resting and picking back up again, but even so, I think my decision making and my comms is actually pretty good. I'm hoping by the end of week 2 maybe, I'll kind of just be back in form and I can actually make some progress towards improving. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the summary, and if you guys want to watch me play live, then check out the stream. I would appreciate any feedback in the comments on how you guys would like these videos to be made. This is the first time I'm doing a type of video like this, so any feedback would be appreciated, and I'll definitely try to improve these as I go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.